Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Angry Hat. Not so angry today. Today we'll be covering the first Descendant update 1.0.5, which is gonna go live effectively in like 3 hours. So let's start. Got plenty of things to cover and I don't want to make this video too long. So, new Descendant, Ultimate Valby. Okay, I think we all know about Ultimate Valby. We've seen the skins, everybody's quite stoked and everybody's quite happy with what Ultimate Valby looks like, I would say. And she has the white costume, which is the white skin, which is the one you see here, and then also has the red one, which is a bit more shiny, so to speak. Ultimate Valby modification modules. So obviously she's gonna get 2 Transcendent modules that only are available for Ultimate. One is gonna be the Spiral Tidal Wave. So basically her bouncy bullet is gonna become a projectile that flies in a straight line, stackable 3 times in a row, and will attract impurities during the Gluttony intercept battle, which is the new Colossi that is gonna get added today. And then we have Hydro Pressure Bomb, her second Transcendent skill, which is going to change the plop plop into it, where she leaps forward and deals damage to enemies around the area. And the more enemies are in the laundry state, the more powerful the damage. So obviously added the Valby amorphous materials for it. And if you have the old materials, you can still use those, much like in Warframe you could use defaulted ones. And then we talk about the new Descendant Luna, which is actually a lot more interesting than Ultimate Valby, if I'm being honest. But that's just me. This lady here, if you play Warframe, Octavia. So let's go through the skills. Improvisation is her passive. Using any skill increases Inspiration Gauge, which allows Luna to use enhanced skills. Skill 1, Stage Presence. Using the skill changes Luna's weapon to her unique weapon, performing the notes in time to the music by using skills or hitting monsters, stacks and increases her skill power modifier. More damage, basically. This is what they say. Skill 2, Passionate Stage. Using the skill makes Luna play upbeat music, increasing the skill power modifier of Luna and her allies. So now this is going to increase the power modifier for you and your teammates. The enhanced effect increases the skill power modifier a lot more and increases the skill critical hit rate and damage of allies. I'm thinking Glepic, I'm thinking Freyna. With skill critical hit rate, they could get insane numbers of their ultimate. Active skill 3, Relaxing Act. Using the skill makes Luna play relaxing music. Hitting the enemy with a note would grant an effect that instantly recovers the MP of Luna and her allies. And MP, it's cool to have recovery, unless you're offsetting this issue with components that have MP recovery in combat, out of combat, or MP modifier, and you farm for those specifically. You might have a build that, you know, many times doing a dungeon or whatnot, you might not have MP while you're fighting the boss. This is quite helpful. With the enhanced effect increases MP recovery and reduces skill cost. Very good. I like Luna already. Delightful Stage is her active skill 4. Using the skill makes Luna play delightful music, whatever the hell that means. What type of music is delightful music? We'll see. Hitting the enemy with a note increases Inspiration Gauge and decreases the skill cooldown of allies, which is absolutely great. Gaining the enhanced effect increases the Inspiration Gauge even more and immediately resets the cooldown of allies. Luna modification skills modules. Nimble Footsteps is going to add movement speed and amplify the effect range. So move faster, have extra range. And Noise Surge, give Luna skills combat skill potential. Basically performing the notes in rhythm unleashes powerful AoE attacks. When the Inspiration Gauge is full, summons a moving stage where she dances to recovery MP and shield, which also could mean that Luna is going to be a shield based Descendant, like Kyle maybe, or more like Enzo, I don't know. And then obviously we have the new Hard Void Intercept Battle Gluttony, which we talked about the mechanic of Valby in gaining impurities with the Ultimate Valby. The Gluttony is going to drop the Hungry Sonic external component set and the blueprint of the ultimate weapon Peacemaker. We're going to go through that in a second. So what the external components Hungry Sonic set does. 2 pieces will grave you toxin resistance. Good. It's not too bad. Toxin resistance is useful in many places on the map, and fighting the Obstructor, fighting probably Gluttony as well, and fighting the Devourer and such, so that's pretty good. And 4Ps grants an effect that recovers MP on hitting the target with unique weapon skills. So your ultimate, like Lepic, Freyna, Luna, right? You will get MP back, as well as an effect that increases skill duration and MP recovery modifier, probably proportional to max MP. What this tells me is that Lepic is going to become the absolute god. You know those thumbnails, those builds like the ultimate mega god. This is for real. This is for real. Like Lepic, his ultimate depends on MP and duration. So if he hits and gets MP back and increases the duration, how long can he shot? Can he shot? What am I saying? How long can he shoot? I should go learn English. And Freyna the same. Freyna, you can have like probably like somewhere around the 85 bullets in your magazine with your ultimate, and with duration that is going to, you know, increase. So how much duration you get, how many shots you can unload, that means more damage. And the ultimate weapon, Peacemaker. God, this video is gonna be long. This is a half a gun. Okay, I see the handle, I see everything of a pistol except the gun barrel. I don't know where the gun barrel is. Either they lost it, or that's just a mini-me version of a gun. I don't know what the hell that is. Maybe I'm blind. I hope I'm blind. Honest to God, I hope this is not the whole weapon, because it's ugly as hell. I mean, it's not ugly, it's just missing pieces. Well, whatever. It's subjective. Added this weapon to the game, and this is the trick. Using a dimension skill grants the single reload for peace effect. Dimension. So not every Descendant is going to gain benefits from using this weapon, because not every Descendant has the dimension skill on it, right? Am I correct? Some have singular in tech, some have fusion in tech. Not everybody has a dimension skill. But what it does at maximum stacks, which we don't know how many, the single reload for peace will enable you to fire the loaded ammo in a single quick burst when taking an aimed shot. Which means you're going to unload everything at fast pace and destroy everything in front of you. This is going to be pretty good, like, you know, for boss battles. Not every Descendant is going to be able to activate the single reload for peace effect. Am I correct in saying this? I don't know. We're going to see how this works out. And then there's a new module, the RK Concretion, which decreases movement speed, firearm attack, and all attribute attacks, except the non-attribute one, every time a skill is used, but each stack of RK Concretion increases defense and MP. Who is gonna trade movement speed, attack for defense and MP? How many Descendants? Enzo? I can see Enzo being one of those, right? I can see support roles. I can see someone like Luna even having that, but I don't see a Freyna or a Lepic reducing these, unless the attribute attack applies only to weapons and doesn't apply to skills, in which case is good. I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm just thinking here, but I have no idea what the hell this is gonna do. We have to test it and see. Hopefully someone will. And then obviously there's new products in the shop if you want to buy anything. Head skins, bundles, Valby bundles, the ultimate, you know, all that. And then there's Hotfix. I'm just gonna go through Hotfix real quickly, and then I would imagine that's it, because Hotfix and Descendant and equipment, and that's it, because guys, I don't want to make this video too long. And then there's gonna be a lot of bug fixes and stuff. So in content improvements, important things. They're gonna prevent you from swapping loadouts and presets in intercept battles and infiltration operations. So even if you have presets, they're not going to allow you to change it anymore once you start it. Added a feature to collect all lost and found items at once in the mailbox. When I farm, usually I just farm and I don't look at the inventory. Everything goes into the mailbox, and then I'm just gonna do a clean house afterwards. Register equipped items as attached items. That's good. Something good is the added the leave party button to the social menu. If people don't know, if you're in a party and you don't know how to leave it, you have to go to social, you have to go to your name, click on your name and kick yourself out of the party. And it's a bit counterintuitive if I'm being honest, but you know, this makes it a lot easier. That's it. Added the search function to the consumable menus. That's good. The red dot, I don't care about it. Increase the poison. So let's go into Descendant and modules. This is important. They've said in the last patch that they're going to add range to Blair, Valby and Freyna, and they are delivering on it. So basically the poison contagion range of Freyna's room 0 trauma from a 4 meters is moved to a 7 meter radius, which effectively means she's almost doubling her radius. You're gonna see some Freynas being able to build a 15 to 20 meters radius, a poison build. Increase the maximum scaling range of Valby skills from 200 to 250, and the same goes for Blair. 250%, that's good. The blizzard generated by Viesa's glacial cloud module now triggers instantly with no delays. Valby's Albion Academy Cadet head skin is dyeable, and incoming final damage is changed to incoming damage modifier in the safe recovery module description. Added a feature in-game options that enable some single shot and burst weapons to fire automatically when the fire button is pressed and held down. This is particularly probably very useful to console players. Honestly, I play Destiny and I play tactical rifles or like pulse rifles and hand cannons, and I prefer to use manual shots. It's just pacing the shots gives you extra precision, but obviously that's on mouse and keyboard, which probably is a bit easier to do than console. I'm not sure about that, but I'm not going to use this option nonetheless. But it's good to have multiple options, so that's a good add. Increased enduring legacy's critical hit damage from 1.7 to 2.3. That's really good, so that hits a lot harder. Secret Garden's critical hit rate has been increased to 50% from 35, so that's a 15% increase, and the critical hit damage went from 185x to a 225x. So Secret Garden, mucho bueno. And also, Nazaistra's Devotion's critical hit rate has gone up to 45%. That's a 9% increase. And the critical hit damage has moved to 225 from 2x. Which I think, it's not that I disagree with the Nazaistra, but I think the hand cannons need a little bit of a buff in range, because, especially only when you find Colossi. When I'm fighting Colossi, I feel like my damage, I have to be at range. My damage suffers a bit, so you have to stay really close, and doesn't really allow for you to use hand cannons really that effectively unless you stay very close to your Colossi. But really, that's a good change, because the Nazaistra Devotion with high critical rate is going to hit like an absolute truck. You see those yellow numbers popping up really often, which is great. Yeah, decrease the trigger rate of bombardment of Greg's Reversed Fate. That's a tongue twisters here. But now it also triggers when the weapon is fired at unshielded enemies. Good. And equipment can now be dismantled at once. All in all, we have so many things. I could talk about this for like... Look at this. There's like a billion pages. So I'm not going to go through all of this. Go on the first Descendant news and you read it yourself if you want to see the bug fixes and other stuff, because there's just too much to cover. This video would be an hour long, honestly, and I don't want to bore you with all of this. Was the most important bit. I just want to read one last thing to you and then we are off. The balancing. So this is what they say. Finally, some news about balancing. We are seeing a dominance of the skill damage focused builds of some Descendants. Lepic. Yeah, 7-second boss killer, every boss. Yeah, Molten Fortress, 15 seconds killing. Like, it's ridiculous, right? It's very powerful. Descendants and weapons that are well suited for these builds are quite popular. Okay, Lepic trainer with Python, huh? Talk about that. Is absolutely insane. I don't dislike the meta though. I actually like that these weapons are very powerful, and I'm not against the meta, to be honest. But the fact is that they want the meta builds to change every season. So they want Descendants and weapons that are effective in new content to be different from those in previous seasons. What does this mean? So there's two ways they could go about it. Either nerf Lepic or buff other Descendants to get to that point. But buffing other Descendants, it means also buffing the difficulty of gameplay. So, for example, Colossi with more health, with more defense, with harder attacks, dungeons more difficult, more enemies and stuff like that. So what is going to be the balancing act? Is it going to be nerfing something in order for something else to shine brighter, or what are we doing here? We're gonna see in future updates. But they can't really promise that all Descendants and weapons will be equal in balance at all times, and I don't think they have to. I don't really strive for 100% balance. This just doesn't exist. You are unable to please everyone, and you will end up pleasing no one. But obviously trying to balance it as much as possible, it's obviously a good thing. But the goal is to keep changing the effective builds. To that end, we promise to make constant adjustments and offer different ways to play with new content. So stay tuned. One thing I would say, this is something that needs to be treaded carefully, because if somebody spends weeks into building Lepic, give an example, with 8 catalysts and spends money on it and everything, and then you end up making that build not viable anymore in endgame content, that fella, it's going to be very, very pissed. And for good reason. It's a very thin line between having people being happy and having people living the game like they haven't seen a worst horror. And I think the devs are doing great, and all I'm seeing here is really good, but it's gonna become harder really soon, as they start modifying those epic builds. You know, we'll see. That has been it. Again, have a look through it if you want to see the bug fixes and other things. There's a very long list of bug fixes. It's like entire pages, and I can't go through that. This is already 20 minutes. But anyway, this has been it. Angry Hat is out. I'm not so angry today. And you, my boys and girls, stay put and download the update, because it's 5.5 gigabytes and it's gonna take you a while. Ciao.